Right, so we've just finished an epic episode here with Danny from Capo. Super pumped for you guys to get in and get listened to this one. We've talked about how he's grown to 15 million in revenue and how he's going to finish this month on 2 million revenue, how he secured over a 7-figure investment and overcoming multiple parts of adversity throughout his life. Without further ado, let's jump in with Danny. Welcome to the Be More podcast. I'm James Calderbank, the owner of Transform Franchise and host of the Be More podcast. So I want to welcome Danny here with me today. So we're going to bring on Danny to help inspire people to be more in themselves and change their life and constantly improve every aspect of it ultimately. So just want to first welcome Danny over from Capo.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to getting stuck in. Absolutely. Right, Danny, so I've got some questions that we've prepped just to kick things off. But just before we do that, I'll probably just talk a little bit more about Capo first. So we can say he's a fashion juggernaut. Is Danny next to me here, and already on track to do 15 million revenue this year. And you're the first ever guest onto the Be More podcast. So
Privileged.
Yeah. Watch this space. Right, so what we're going to do, we're going to do a few quick fire rounds of questions. So don't overthink the answers and let's just get stuck straight into it.
Yeah.
All right, so are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Okay.
Both, actually.
Morning. What time do you get up?
5, 6.
Nice. Do you trust your gut or rely on data?
Gut.
What's your best habit in your life?
Persistence.
Nice. Cool. Interesting.
Is that a habit?
Maybe? Yeah.
Or a trait?
I suppose you could say it's any of those, couldn't you? Really, but they're both good. We'll give him that one, I think. What's your worst habit that you try and not do? I hope
Being late.
Being late. Okay.
Time management. Yeah.
I probably agree with that one for me as well, mate. I relate to you on that one. So I'm always in trouble looking over at the people organising this over here, they're laughing. Right, so what motivates you? Proving people wrong or proving yourself right?
Proving myself right, I'd say. Not really interested in other people's opinions. Obviously, I think as you get older, that comes through a bit more. When you're younger, I think you can have more tendency to care what other people think, but again, life experience, other things, I would definitely say that, yeah, proving myself right over other people's opinions.
It'd be interesting to know, like, at what point did you really realise that? Because I know myself, I don't know what it was like some clock in my body. As soon as I hit 30, my whole, not my whole belief system changed, but how I perceive a lot of things, I just stopped caring about really irrelevant things. As soon as I woke up when I was 30, it felt like it was overnight. Like, when did you really start to be like aware of that in yourself?
I think when I lost my dad, to be honest, it was probably I had thoughts and ideas previous, but then whatever the experiences, the trauma of all that just kind of fast-tracked it basically from then on, just like you just said, just did not care from that point on. It's other people's opinions are irrelevant and just from then on out, got after it really. It's like...
How long ago was that?
2018, so it's 6 years, 7 years in Feb, so...
Wow. Well, when I was reading through all this, like I was, I said, I was literally thinking about like, that must have been like devastating for you at that time.
Yeah, it was, well, yeah. I mean, it does, obviously on these podcasts, I feel like it comes up every time, but it is, there's no question, it's like a monumental thing in my life that was like a shift. Like you say, it is 7 years, but...
When did you start? How long ago did you start Capo again, actually?
2000, and it was 6 months prior, to be honest. So we did start it while he was still here.
Right.
Obviously, it was just different than it is now. It was a side hustle, really, then. But yeah, it was 6 months previous. But then, obviously, what transpired, I think, it took a bit of time to come through. But in the couple of years following, I think it has then turbocharged Capo, really, in some regards, and me to just get after it, basically.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Turning down times into a positive as much as you can.
Yeah. It's I know it's a bit of a morbid subject, but I think it gives a lot of context to me. And
any like I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, and I think anyone that's had like major success with anything like similar to what you've had, I think that it always starts with the story of like hitting rock bottom with things,
Adversity,
or
yeah, 100%.
Okay, well, we might touch more on that later then. So, define success to you. Like, does success mean more out of these two questions: freedom or impact?
Good question. Probably my initial instinct's freedom, but I suppose then it depends impact. Like, what impact can you leave on people? Because that is a big thing. Like, even for the company now, like when we interact with people, or like obviously in business, there's a lot of monetary success, financial, or measures based on monetary value, which I don't really have much of personally. So I like the company to leave an impression on, one, the customers, two, agencies that we come into contact with. I would like to think that we're, as the saying goes, people never forget how you, what you say, but they'll never forget how you make them feel, type thing. Yeah. So I think that's something, the ethos of the company. But personally, freedom's important to me. It's why something I've always wanted. It's took me quite a long time to get it. Obviously, I worked full time up to a couple of years ago, but freedom is a big core thing for me that I've wanted, and in some ways I've got, and some.
So if you could put freedom into 3 words, what would it mean to you? Freedom, because I think freedom means different for everyone. It's an individual thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, your freedom of your time, I suppose. There is financial element to it, in able to be able to have the freedom to do what you want within it. For me, that's not doing lavish things or material things. Third one, freedom.
Have you gone through that phase? The material phase?
To be honest, I think luckily losing my dad and things like that, not to keep bringing it back, has kind of banished it for me, because I could have been a billionaire when he died and I couldn't have stopped it. So like, don't get me wrong, I've had like a nice watch and I have a lovely car, but if I lost it tomorrow, I genuinely would not be bothered. But I do know everyone says you go through the phase of like watches and cars, and
I'm that stereotype. Yeah, but not anymore. You get it. You like really care about a piece of metal on our wrist, or it's nice to have.
I probably have, but not. I wouldn't say it's been extreme. I don't think. I wouldn't like to think so anyway.
It's about. I think real freedom. I think a lot of people, including myself, start a business to go, right, make this and make that, but actually it's it pulls you back round to square one of your life of what you actually really enjoy and your core values, where it's family and things, which is a big one for me.
I think you work so long, like you say, to hit X revenue or X money, and you actually realise it don't mean very much, because you work so long to get to it, don't you? And then, well, for me personally, I found it was like, is that it? It's like,
but as you get older, you have to have that to be able to actually do what you had when you were free, when you were younger, right?
yeah. It's like the realisation, it's the journey and all that, and building it and the process, and
Awesome. Right, got a few more, but I won't stick on these too much longer. Right, so next part. So if Capo was a car, what car would it be?
What's the perfect everyday car? Range Rover.
Range Rover?
Yeah.
Perfect. Just don't get it stolen.
Or try and insure it.
Exactly. So, what's a business buzzword you secretly can't stand? This is a good LinkedIn question, actually.
Yes. You've stumped me there. Buzzword. Go on, what have you got one? I'm going to throw it.
It's got to be 10x.
Yeah. It's...
Do you like
can't think of one. There's plenty of like cliche stuff in there.
Do you want to 10x your business right now?
Yeah.
Like, I can't stand that.
Yeah, the amount of agencies that email us that with advertising and
It's like, 10x my revenue, but what's my profit going to be? What's going to be left over at the end of the month? Okay, if you had to pick one, what would it be?
Honestly, I'm stumped.
Another one means delegate.
Yeah.
Because I learned that hard lesson with delegating.
Yeah, I think I found that. Because we sit at a certain level and everyone delegate now. You've got to delegate people better than you, and
then you delegate, and then you delegate, and then you don't follow them up, and then you realise there's a whole other side to delegating. It's following up and
they just run wild doing
checking
it their own way, and you're like,
nope.
It just creates another avenue.
Okay, moving on to the next one. So, are you fully self-taught, or have you learned from mentors?
Fully self-taught.
No mentors,
no education for fashion. No, I may have some key people in my life, but nobody specifically doing what we do. There's a mentor as such. No.
Wow.
Yeah, no. Literally no
So who
education.
do you go
no.
to like bounce off like problems and things? Like, is that all come from yourself
Just
mainly?
myself, yeah.
Wow.
I think again, it was my dad, and then you have no one type thing. So that realization was pretty seismic in my life, that
That's
not
incredible.
relying on other people or bounce. Obviously, I bounce things off business partner or whatever, but yeah, no real mentors, I would say.
That's awesome, mate. So cool.
Do you?
Yeah, loads.
Yeah.
my kind of strategy's been, I'm very passionate about what I do, but I think I want to just not cut corners, the words I'm trying to say, but just learn from other people's mistakes. I can as quick as possible.
I'm sure. It's no doubt better way of doing it. I'm coming round to like the networking and expanding your.
You got to if you're going to be closing this year on 50 mil revenue, you're doing better than most mentors. You're probably able to mentor you. So further up, less mentors there is.
I think that's. I've found people talking about things aren't always the ones doing things. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I've looked at certain people sometimes, and then in reality, they're not doing very much. Do you know what I mean? That's maybe I'm a bit skeptical, but just what I've found so far.
Yeah. So the last one of the quick fires. So what's the most ridiculous business advice you've ever had?
Probably fake it till you make it. Maybe it's cliche again, but obviously it's if you're doing that, you're struggling. It's obviously the flip side of it is we've winged the whole thing, so we have in some ways faked it, but like we was in the era of like print t-shirts and influencer posting, so there was so many ego trips about that. You know, like, oh, such body's wearing this, such body's wearing that, and even we were guilty of like, oh God, they must be doing so well, but the longevity and it's not going to last, I don't think anyway, whereas we've kind of come along slow and steady in the background of consistent, just organic growth. So fake it till you make it.
So you've pretty much built most of your business up to a degree with organic stuff. So are you doing like any like paid advertising?
Yeah. So we've done a lot of paid advertising, but equally it's got to be, your content's got to be good. And it's not just, you can't just run paid ads and generate. There's so many variables: your price, your products, your content, your back end systems. There's so many variables with it, which we found this year. Trying to keep a grip on all them to the scale we're at now to maintain the return on ad spend, things like that is.
Yeah, he's smashed it because he's learnt Facebook ads. Like that's what I get all the time.
If only it were that simple.
Know,
Maybe 7 years ago. But
it does work because I got one of your ads and bought on the first ad I saw.
Yeah.
And that was why it was funny that we ended up getting us. Oh shit, Capo.
Yeah.
So guys, if you're looking for new clothing, definitely get to Capo because it is pretty good. So check it out. Right, so down to a lot more serious stuff then. So Capo's been going about 7 years now.
Yeah,
we're just about to close this year on 15 million, right? And you're going to do, is it 2 million this month alone? Yeah, nice.
Yeah, should do.
So I think from what I read, is it grown 20% month on month?
To the start of this year, it was 300% year on year for the last 3 years.
Wow.
20% month on month. Yeah,
so it's been 300% a year. Now it's even more this year.
This year, slowed slightly, but we're still borderline double up on last year. So depending on how the next couple of weeks go, but we're pretty much double up on last year, which frustrating in some regards. But we're doing okay. It's not where I think it can be by any means, but.
Because you just recently got a 7-figure funding as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so we did that last year the start of 2024. So we got 1.5 million in funding, which there's no investors, there's nobody in the business other than me and Adam. It's just we've used the capital to fuel the growth essentially, and we've just renewed that this year, which we're less dependent on. So the business is a lot stronger. So but again, it's having those meetings has been, like you said. I had no mentor going into them meetings. You're going down to London for having meetings and stuff, and it's all been a steep learning curve this last 12 months.
So in the last 12 months, then, like, what would you say like the most challenging part of it?
I think, it was a business last year. It's as much as me realizing it is not a legit, but it's a bit of a monster of a business now, because I always downplay it, and I have done this year. We've gone. You trust certain ads agencies because you deem that we're not small, but you assume that they're used to handling much bigger brands, or they name drop certain brands that they're working with. You get into working with them and it turns out that you're doing treble, 4x their revenue.
That's how it looks. Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, so yeah, it has been a realisation this year that we are bigger than I realised, and that not everyone has good intentions, or they're not used to. Yeah, it's. I've lost track of the original question now, but
yeah. What's been like the toughest part of that this year?
Yeah, I think realising it, where we've trusted people and then the business has kind of headed off in a different direction. Plus the stakes for everything. We took the funding for the first time. We've probably had to hit certain revenue numbers, whereas up to now it's not been a side hustle or whatever. It's grown like it did the last 3 years. Now we've got X number of employees. We've got rent, financial commitments up to the eyeballs.
Margins rapidly come down. Right?
Yeah, it's been for me, it's been a realisation this year that
So what's like the average amount of like orders that are going out like every day
probably
or weekly?
Probably about 1,000 a day at the minute.
Wow.
It's probably been 500, between 500 and 600 a day up till October time. Then it's
and that's all done supplied from the one place. Like
so a lot of brands do they're in fulfillment centres, but we do all our own fulfillment. So a lot of my family, Adam's family.
So like being able to keep up with that stock, right? That must be a stress.
Yeah, even
like
with the best
up.
planning, it's been a challenge this year. Wow. It is every year because you never really know how Black Friday's going to go, because you can double, treble, quadruple within a month. So you're trying to get staff on standby. Like we've outgrown the space we've got. In all honesty, we took the warehouse 18 months ago, thinking it was a big jump. Then it was a big risk financially.
Because you probably got the risk of overstocking as well, and then it being out of date, like clothing for the
which
season,
again,
right?
going back, we found that this year, because obviously till January last year, it was pretty much me and Adam in terms of like the senior team, which, people come in and be like, where's your boardroom, where's your design team, where's your marketing? And it was just me and Adam. So like we overall, because we were micromanaging so many things, we overordered too much stock, which we're kind of transitioning out of now. So again, like you say, like now we're conscious that when we order new things now, there's genuinely nowhere for it to go. So we have 2 warehouses. It's now, but we're in a 5-year lease. So what do we do? Do we keep paying the rent on that and move into a bigger one? Just things that like I say, 18 months ago, we genuinely took it and thought it's probably too big for us. This, but 6 months later, it was full. We've had to get another warehouse 5 minutes away as an overspill, which is now full. So yeah, it's.
And how many team members have you got now?
We've probably got about 20 to 24. That does include some, probably slightly more if you include casual staff. But full time, there's probably around 15, 16, plus agencies that we work with, freelancers and stuff.
How have you found that, like building the team?
Yeah, again, like I've never managed people. Do you know what I mean? I think if you came into it, it's not corporate at all. It's very relaxed. It's very family orientated. Like we've run out of family, in all honesty, like friends and a couple of key hires like merch.
Yeah, because you've got some of your close family like working with you
like
as well.
Grandma, granddad, aunties, uncles, my mum. Yeah, Adam's the same, all his family.
So have your family always done business then? Have you, from a business background?
No. It's not partly why I started it, because obviously when what happened.
Yeah.
My mum had just retired. The plan was for my dad to retire and they'd travel, get a motorhome, etc. And then what happened, and she were a little bit lost, in all honesty. So and at the time I set up an eBay business, which I still work full time, but it generated her a wage really and a day-to-day routine. Then transitioned that to lessons I took from that to take into Capo to be what it is. And now, the family, provides a lifestyle for aunties, not a lifestyle, sorry, a routine again, because we lost my uncle separately, which my auntie was in the same position as my mum. So it gives her a bit of routine, plus other family members, and plus I can trust them. That's the most thing. It's every little detail in the business is done by someone that cares. It's not in a fulfillment centre where. That's not me throwing shade on. I'm sure it's, even at times I question whether it's easier, because like we have to manage rotas every week, warehouse tasks and things that not really grow in the business, where I can see why people do it. But I do like that we still have that control of the
when I started off, it was like, no, it's everyone's like, you used to hear on podcasts, it's all about your team and your people, and you're like, yeah, it's just about selling. Then you get into it and realize that it's like every fire's like burning around you, and then you're like, okay, it's about the team.
Yeah. But
and
yeah,
it's
like
difficult.
you say, employing people's a new, like I worked for somebody else a couple of years ago, and you're learning HR systems, payroll, pension schemes, and all sorts that comes along with employing. But yeah, no, it's.
So what does your typical day look like now?
I couldn't tell you. It's literally firefighting every day. I am trying to bring more structure to it, but.
So you get up at 6, so we've already covered that.
Gym
so let's face it, it's a normal Monday, not around Christmas. What's next?
Gym, straight into the gym.
Nice. What time's that?
7:30-ish.
The reason I'm asking is because I'm a big routine person.
Yeah.
As much as I can be.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the gym at half 6, finish at 7:30.
Yeah. Costa en route to the office, then straight into the office and just deal with whatever's coming.
That's so for like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8ish, 8:30. Yeah. There's no like set week to week schedule for me. Like I'm trying to do it now, like design meetings, performance meetings, merch meetings, whatever. I am very chaotic at the minute, which I believe you're the same, but it works for me. It's worked to this point. I think to go to the next level, I have to rein myself in a bit. But equally, I don't know. I've done it before.
Do you ever track what you're doing? Like, have you?
No. It's I don't know. I've done it before. 2 hours doing X. I have a thought 30 minutes in, and then I'm off down that rabbit hole. I struggle with it. I can't park things really. I'm quite obsessive with once I'm on something.
Yeah.
And then that triggers another thought which I can't let go. And 8 hours later, I'm down. I'm doing something completely different than I started. So I don't know. It's interesting. What about you? Have you got rigid routine or?
No, because I think a big thing that's brought my stress levels down a lot, because it was getting to a point where I was getting ill from stress all the time. Like I go and do like a 90% tough leg session and I'd be ill for a week. And my immune system's that low, my adrenal system's just like on its arse. So I was like, right, this is going to kill me one day. So I had to get it under control. Like, I was having like heart palpitations at one point. Things not because things were going wrong, but I just had that much, and I'm going, oh my God.
Yeah.
So because I always like to, because of COVID, I always like to run lean. You never know what's around the corner. But then I was like, so I probably should have hired a few more people earlier on.
Yeah.
So what we've kind of done, we've broke it into different sections of the business. Sorry, that are different departments. So when I'm doing something, at the end of the day, I analyze what I've done and I write down what department it should have been.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing something, it was an accounts-based thing that needs to be going to, like Louise or Fiona does our accounts, or if it's a marketing thing, it really realistically needs to go to that person.
I suppose you can recognise gaps in your team then.
80% of the things that I was doing, could have actually done better by other people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. There's a lot of room for improvement.
Like 6 months ago, I'm dreaming of doing sitting down to do a podcast for 4 hours this afternoon would not have happened. So yeah, kind of works. So what's the next steps for Capo then? Where
it's quite a lot.
Where's Danny and Capo next in 2025?
There's a lot of cool stuff coming. Active wear. We mentioned before the gym. The gym element, I think it won't be as, I would like to think, chavvy as some of the stuff on the market at the minute. So I'm conscious of just doing what everyone else is doing, but equally no one's reinventing the wheel with clothing. I don't
conscious about the top I'm wearing now. Does it meet standards? Is it too chavvy? No, no.
Like I don't proclaim to be reinventing the wheel. Everyone's doing t-shirts, jackets, hoodies, cargo pants, but we put our own stamp on it. So I'd like to think it's slightly different to what's out there, but like my vision for it is like not Zara in effect, but Capo will have whatever the occasion is. We have an offering for what you want. So like at the minute, if you go into a wedding, going on night out, you go onto Zara, you can pretty much find what you're after. So long term, that's what I'd like for Capo. So for me, the obvious one is I wear it most days. A lot of our customers wear it every day. It's like tech wear, active wear. So that's coming.
So who if you could get the ideal customer to land on your site now, so for any viewers watching or listening to this, who are they and who should go on your website? Who would benefit?
Just your everyday lad, really. Yeah, I think we've been guilty of looking at niche brands or cool Instagram brands, but then in retrospect, like we appeal to quite a mass market in reality. Now we're not fast fashion. I don't want to be fast fashion, but I think we appeal to the basic staple clothing that every lad needs, like plain t-shirts, plain jackets that are not oversized or different cuts. And so yeah, I know that's a pretty vague answer, but yeah, that is kind of the model of appealing to as many people as we can, really, with as much offering as we can.
Well, I'm a pretty wide guy, and most things are a bit snug in the wrong areas for me. So, but yeah, Capo it fits me pretty well.
But again, that feedback, the further we've got into it, we started quite heavily fitted, not skinny clothing, but slim.
Yeah.
We're transitioning.
Spray on skinny.
Yeah. We're transitioning away from that now. So
extra medium t-shirts.
Yeah. For the biceps. Yeah.
So we know marketing. So what have you like? Where would you like, or where do you think Capo could be in terms of revenue by the end of 2025?
I'd like to break 20. I wanted to do it this year. In all honesty, we've had certain issues, which is just business. It's not been linear. We've had an amazing 3 years where we've exceeded expectations, and that's not me downplaying doing what we're going to do this year. I never dreamed of doing what we're going to do. Yeah, that's like going back to it. I realised it's a serious business now. As much as I look at other brands doing 50 million, 100 million, billions a year, it doesn't take away from what we're doing. Like, I'm in it every day, and I realise what it takes and how long it's took to get here. But I would like to be doing within 3 years, 50 million. I think we can break 20 next year.
Nice.
Probably at a canter, I would like to think.
Brilliant.
Beyond that, I don't know. Do we exit? I don't think so. I've had conversations this year about it, which has been a learning experience. Don't think it's for me, if I'm honest, as much as it's hard to say no when people are throwing it in front of you. But maybe Adam's in. Again, that's been a different... we've had to have conversations this year, which you never think you're going to have. Like, we've realised that maybe we have different desires long term, and but we're still very much aligned on making the decisions. But yeah, maybe other thing like potentially starting another business at the minute for me personally, which I'm excited by. It's in a different field. It's not e-commerce. It's nothing I've ever done before, but I've done a lot of background work on it and homework, and yeah, I'm excited for that. But equally, I'm a bit conscious of, I do believe you've got to be obsessed. Do you know what I mean? I think every best in craft, like you look at Ronaldo in football, and
I've been very lucky to be mentored by people like Alex Hormozy recently. And the one thing, because I was coming up with ideas like one of these, and he just said, just stick to one thing you're doing well at and do it really fucking well.
Yeah.
Something along them lines anyway, not quote for quote.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's up, like, I've held pretty firm with it. It's like there's been other opportunities. It's like every hour spent away from Capo, I look at is probably deviating from what it could be. It's like
it's an extension of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I know we're going to have to wrap up now. So one last question. So for 2025, if any of the viewers are wanting to be more about themselves, about their business, or they're genuinely going for a tough time and they just can't seem to get out of that rut, what would you say the first thing that they need to go and do right now, like this minute, to take action?
Yeah, I think, where do
you start?
If it's a business, just start. If it's personally, I'd not be self-aware, but I'd look at yourself, because that's like, I think when I look back as why is Capo, going back to business, gone on the trajectory it's had, it's because I realised I was arsing about, really. That's the I was half-arsing it. Nobody's going to come and do it for you. I know it's quite extreme, but, it's like there is no one coming, do you know what I mean? Whatever it's, you generally, if you probably look at yourself, you'll know what you're not doing or what you could be doing more, and if you're brutally honest with yourself, it's, which I think you need to be,
it's about working
the
harder.
answers will be there, yeah.
The answer's always more work.
It is. Like, people always want the easy road, don't they? And it's, maybe, I think it's...
Yeah, I think it's because you see people like doing well on, on social channels and stuff, but you don't see what really goes on behind the scenes.
Or people just assume that, they must have X or Y, and, I was the same. You think, but it's not. It's, they've just, like, for me, my own, just figured it out. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
I've not, like you say, going back, no experience, no skill set that really entitles me to do what I do. It's just even now, every day, when I say firefighting, things come up like tech things or what. It's like I have no clue how to figure it out, but
you will.
yeah, it's yeah.
All right, guys. So that was Danny from Capo.
you.
So thank you very much for coming on the show,
Thank you,
Danny,
mate.
and
Appreciate
hopefully we'll see you again very soon.
Yeah, thanks
Thank you
a
very
lot.
much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers,
Thank
buddy.
you.